this is the Kodiak Defense WK180. In order to maintain that thing, you need to separate the lower and upper receiver. You can see there is a pin right there that's maintained by an E-clip. You do not need to remove this, just like on an AR-15. Completely at the back, you can see there is a button right here in order to disassemble the upper and lower receiver. Mine is already ajar because it is ridiculously tight. The reason for that is, completely at the back, you might see there is a little deformation right there. The upper receiver has probably been dropped on concrete or something like that, and nobody noticed that the gun was way too tight or way more than it was supposed to be. Not a good sign. So when you open the gun, you have to maintain pressure on this button because it is under spring pressure and it will go flying off. So opening it, you can see the back plate comes out with the two spring guides, which are also the ones on which the bolt carrier is running, and we have our two return springs just like on the genuine AR-180. Regarding the bolt carrier, you have the cocking handle, you just pull it up to this point. You might think that you just have to pull the cocking handle out. That's not the case. To remove the cocking handle, you actually have to remove it by unthreading it, which, as you might know, is going to be a big issue because this is applying shearing forces onto the threads. This is my second cocking handle. One has already broken before 500 rounds. Once you are at this point, you can take out the entire bolt carrier. You can see it looks exactly like an AR-15 with 7 lugs, and for all intents and purposes, it is almost the same thing. It is not, however, compatible with AR-15 bolt carriers, even though these ones have a tail. In terms of internals, you can see that this is exactly an AR-15 trigger mechanism. The problem is you cannot actually replace it with just about anything because the internal dimensions are not exactly the same as an AR-15. You will need to pick something like a Geyser enhanced trigger or something like that comes in 2 pieces, just like a regular mil-spec trigger. The trigger on this gun is kind of atrocious. The mil-spec is supposed to be all the way up to 8-10 pounds. This one is one of the worst. It's probably 8 or 9 compared to my poor little MP15 now prohibited that was also with a mil-spec trigger but only about 5 or 6 pounds. I am not going to disassemble the bolt carrier entirely because, as you can see, you have this particular pin right there to retain the firing pin inside. The firing pin is under a lot of spring pressure. If you remove it, this is going to go flying off. So in order to reassemble it, make sure that it is forward, obviously. Start inserting it, not like I did, up to this point. Do not put it any more further. If you do, there is a pretty high chance that this is going to get itself at a weird angle and you will have a hell of a time removing it. Thread this part in, and now it is guided all the way through, which allows you to lock it back in. Take your back end and your 2 springs, and you have to look inside to make sure that the springs are actually aligning themselves with the holes in the bolt carrier. Once it is in, just push it down, and the gun is now reassembled. Yeah, that was completely over insertion. Oh well. So one of the problems with the gun is that the magwell is actually out of spec. So every single magazine is not going to fit. First, let's try Crossman. Works fine. PMAG Gen 2. Works fine. Other PMAC Gen 2. Works fine. First PMAC Gen 3. I can't. Actually, maybe I did. Sluggish. Didn't engage the extractor. But you have to force it out. Second PMAC Gen 3. This one is brand new. Pushed one in. It was definitely a bit more sluggish and still resists quite a bit. LAR pistol magazine, 10 rounds. It's fine. Load. Works just fine. Actually, no. Failure to feed. Okay, now it works. Is the gun a ball pop? Yes, it is.